What's up, Totem Pole Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Recruiting Trail. Today is episode 40, the NC State Wolfpack 2024 recruiting class. Currently, they are 28th in the country, 6th in the ACC. Coming off a 9-3 season, still have a bowl game to go, so we'll get into that. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone that's watching. Thank you to Totem Pole Nation. If you want to support the brand, we got hats, t-shirts, hoodies, cups, bags, everything you need at totempolenation.com. That is in the ticker. Thank you to Sideline Sports Network as well. Let's go. All right, like I said, 28th ranked class in the country, 6th in the ACC. They have 22 commits as of right now, 4 of them being 4 stars, 17 being 3 stars. And as of this moment, they have 18 players in the transfer portal, 2 of them being linebackers, 5 DBs. That's a total of 7 tackles in production from those DBs, 4 wide receivers. Again, they're losing 26 receptions and 380 yards of production in those 4 receivers. 2 running backs, Michael Allen, 251 yards last year on 4.3 a carry and a touchdown. Jordan Houston, 96 yards on 3.8. 2 O linemen are gone. 1 D lineman, CJ Clark. He had 22 tackles last year and a sack. A tight end. And then the biggest one, obviously, is MJ Morris. Now, you would expect with all the hoopla that was brought up with him entering the portal and, maintaining eligibility for the future and all that stuff. Maryland, I feel like, with the state of NC State right now, like Maryland was kind of a lateral move for him. I didn't fully understand it. But, to each their own. I don't think that you guys really are. I mean, obviously he's a super talented player, but I don't think that. I think him going to Maryland, giving that it's, a lateral move kind of bodes well for you guys in the fact that, like, you knew what you had. He thought he was a little bit better than NC State. And it just didn't work out. Right now, they have 4 incoming transfers through the portal. That is the 7th ranked transfer class as of today. That starts with offensive tackle Valen Erickson, 6'5", 305. He's currently a freshman, transferred in from Missouri. Next up is a wide receiver, Wesley Grimes, transferred from Wake Forest. He's 6'2", 187. He's a sophomore right now. The biggest so far, obviously, is the quarterback pickup from Coastal, Grayson McCall, 6'3", 200. He's a senior. He had, in 7 games last year, 1,900 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. He threw the ball at 67%, which is, pretty good. Added a rushing touchdown as well. Again, that's in 7 games. And then rounding out the 4 transfers as of today, interior O-lineman Zeke Coral, 6'3", 306, senior from Notre Dame. So obviously, like I said, that's the 7th ranked transfer class in the country right now. Obviously, things will heat up, but definitely on the right track for the Wolfpack. Starting with their top 5 commits, this guy right here is someone that, if he were coming to the school that I cheered for, I would be over the moon. All right. So this is Jonathan Paylor. He's 5'9.5", 5'10", depending on the site you go. 170 from Hugh M. Cummings High School in Burlington, North Carolina. He's the 130th ranked player nationally, the 9th ranked running back, and the 4th player ranked in North Carolina. He was invited to the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas, Under Armour All-American game, roster selection, 4-year varsity player. And I'm going to go through his 4 years right now, all right? As a freshman, in 7 games, he rushed for 438 yards on 7.3 yards per carry and 4 touchdowns. In the receiving game, though, he had 36 receptions for 851 yards and 12 touchdowns. 16 total touchdowns for him as a true freshman in 7 games. His sophomore year, he rushed for 655 at 9.6 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, 42 receptions for 936 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns in 11 games as a sophomore. Ridiculous. As a junior, rushed for 1,054 yards on 13.7 yards per carry and 17 rushing touchdowns. He added to that 27 receptions for for 725 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, as a senior, he just rushed for 2,300 yards on 14.1 yards per carry and 30 touchdowns. Wolfpack fans, you've got to be going crazy for this guy. He also added 25 receptions, 381 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the air. 33 total touchdowns for the senior this year. Very obvious why he's one of the, top 130 players in the country. This guy's an absolute animal. I'd be over the moon to get him at the school that I go for. Next up, 4-star wide receiver Terrell Anderson, 6'3", 185 from Grimsley High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. 235th ranked player nationally, 39th ranked wide receiver, and the 8th ranked player in North Carolina. Georgia recruited this guy very hard. And his 24/7 Sports crystal ball projection, which we've seen be wrong in the past, but normally they're pretty on point, had him projected to go to Georgia. So NC State pulling him, great grab. He caught 64 passes for 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns, adding 3 kick return touchdowns as well as a junior. And then this past year, he had 64 receptions again for 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. Number 3 of their top 5. Elijah Groves, 4-star linebacker, 6'4", 215 from East Robertson High School in Cross Plains, Tennessee. 307th ranked player nationally, 24th ranked linebacker, and the 7th ranked player in Tennessee. He was an All-American Bowl roster selection and an All-Robertson County, Tennessee boys basketball player of the year as a junior. So you know that he's athletic as hell. If he's, the basketball player of the year, also a 4-star linebacker, this is definitely an athlete that you want on your side of the ball. Next up, 4-star athlete Ronnie Royal III, 5'9.5", 5'10", 175 from Gulf Shores High School in Gulf Shores, Alabama. 427th ranked player nationally, 25th ranked athlete, and the 24th ranked player in Alabama. He's a running back / DB. We'll have to see what he does with the red and white on of the Wolfpack. He helped lead Gulf Shores to its first state title in school history, named the MVP of the 5A title game after carrying the ball 22 times for 188 and 2 tuds in a 21-14 dub. Also had a one-handed interception, pretty impressive. He was credited with 56 tackles, 9 of them being for loss, 10 pass breakups, and 5 interceptions, as well as 2 forced fumbles on the defensive side. Offensively, he ran for 1,072 yards, 17 touchdowns, while catching 34 passes for 477 yards and a touchdown. He also scored 6 times via the return game, 4 times being on punt returns, 2 of them being on kick returns. The dude is electric. Rounding out their top 5, this guy, he looks like he's built like KD, right? And that's not a knock because he's 6'6.5", 6'7", 185, right? Like when I said KD, I wasn't meaning like he's just a super skinny dude. He's the frame of a basketball player playing quarterback at an extremely high level. I'll read you off his stats from this year. Completed 71.4% of passes, 3,100 yards, 47 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. Also running for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know if this is a guy that you'd expect to be on the run a lot, given his frame and the stature. I can't imagine someone, a normal tackle box for a guy for him would be like at his damn knees for the height difference of some of the guys that are going to be tackling him. So it's an anomaly. It seems like he's a basketball player playing quarterback at a super high level. He led his team to a state championship as a junior, led his team to a state championship as a sophomore. Obviously, that makes him a 3-year varsity star. Chaminade Madonna Prep and Hollywood, Florida, 482nd ranked player nationally, 32nd ranked QB, and the 60th ranked player in Florida. They also have a JUCO commit, tight end Dante Daniels, 6'6", 265 from Butler Community College. In-state was his only Power 4 offer, so take that as you will, but definitely a good addition to a tight end room that is pretty empty. Speaking of depth chart stuff, these are the depth chart notes that I have. The wide receiver room is barren. It is just, it's pretty thin, to say the least. They have a 4-star commit, 2 3-star commits, and 1 transfer to help fill those gaps. Like I said, the tight end room is pretty empty as well. They have that JUCO commit. The O-line room is a mix of youth and experience. They have 3 3-star commits and 2 transfers to help that out. The quarterback room is obviously led by graduate senior Brennan Armstrong, transferred a couple years ago from UVA. There's some young guys behind him. And then obviously they have what looks like KD coming in as well as a 3-star commit. They have a transfer as well. Running back room does have some depth, but they're also bringing in a 4-star and 2 3-star commits. The D-line room is old, so getting some youth into that rotation is probably going to be good for the long run. They have 3 3-star commits. The linebacker room also pretty old, 1 4-star commit, 3 3-star commits, and the DB room is old and empty. I would expect a little bit more movement in the portal from NC State and the DB area. They have 3 3-star commits. That rounds out the recap of the NC State Wolfpack 2024 recruiting class. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And to reiterate, if you need any gear, if you want any gear, if you want to help the boys out, TotemPoleNation.com is scrolling in the ticker. You can get hats. There's other hats. You can get hoodies. You can get T-shirts. You can get bags, cups. There's other stuff as well. That'll be all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good night.